Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Lindsay, the Cheshire Stitcher, and today is October the 15th, 2023. This is Floss Tube number 4. If you are a new viewer, welcome. If you're a returning viewer, big welcome to you too. I've got a few PhDs for you today, a little bit of haul, and I'm going to tell you how I got into model stitching, as I was asked on my last Floss Tube about that. I'm having to record on my phone today because for some reason my iPad has decided it's full, even though I've deleted tons of stuff. But there we go. So we'll see how we go on my phone. So let's get started, shall we, with my PhDs. First of all, I'm going to show you this one. This is my commission piece. I'm still working on filling in the bit I had frog, but I've not done much of that. I've mostly been working on this, which is sort of the hat of the lady. Working in white and cream and 5200 and pale lilac on cream fabric. It's not easy, and my eyes have, some days have gone, nah, let's not do that, and I've had to use my magnifier. Yesterday I went to the Nimble Thimble with a few friends for a stitchy day, and I took flea market flowers with me, so that's how that's looking. All the way back here to show all of it. When I got there, I had the tiniest bit at the tip of that flower, that petal there, done, so I did all of that yesterday. So not bad progress on that, quite happy with that. I've been working on my Love Quilt Square, my trains. Now the one thing on my shopping list yesterday was to get the colour to fill the windows in, and it was out of stock. So I couldn't, because my plan was to take this with me tomorrow when I have my grandsons, fill in the windows, do the back stitch, get it washed, get it sent. So what I'm going to have to do is go to Hobbycrap on my way home tomorrow, because there's a Hobbycrap near my daughter's, and pick it up. I begrudge paying their cut prices, but I'm not going to spend a fortune on postage for one skein of thread. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to take the one I've just dropped on the floor. I'm going to take this one. Now, technically this square is finished, but I had a mishap with it when I washed it and ironed it back in April, and I managed to burn this area here. Managed to get most of it out. You can't really tell there now, but I'm going to cover it over with some grass. So I'm going to take my signature out, do the grass, and I'll put my signature at the bottom. So I'll do that tomorrow instead. My other thing that I've been working on is my weekend stitch along with Jeanette, which is this. Puntini's Craft Supplies and Other Lies. We started it last weekend, and here's how far I've gotten with mine. I'm using all the called for DMC, and this you can't really tell unless you're looking at it in person. This is a piece of Sparkly's Oddments, and it's a very, very pale, really pale green and lemon. It might be an oopsie piece, I don't know, but anyway, so I shall be back on that when I've uploaded this. The other thing that I've been working on, I can't show you, is my model for Sparkly's. So I'm going to, when I finish this, I'm going to do a little video of it, and I'll upload that, and then you can see what it is. But in the meantime, if you'd like to put your thinking caps on, when it is released at Harrogate in November, I am going to buy a copy of the chart, and if anybody has correctly guessed what the creature is, you will go in a draw to win the chart. Obviously you're not going to have to stitch it in what I'm doing it, but this is, like I say, this is a 12 pearl from Paint Box Threads, and it's an absolute delight to work. So that's it, PhDs. There's not a lot. It's only 8 days since my last video, and the bulk of my time stitching is spent at the moment on the commission and the model. So it's going to be like that for quite a while, I would imagine. So anyway, I said I've got a little bit of haul for you. So as I said, I went to the Nimble Thimble yesterday for a stitching day. Took Jeanette along, and Lynn the Lancashire Stitcher was there. And one of the charts that I bought, and then Jeanette bought, and then Lynn saw that we'd bought it, was Puntini's Puntini's When I Think of Stitching. So at some point a little later this year, we're going to have a start along on this. If it's as enjoyable as the craft supplies one, it's going to be really blast to do. I didn't buy huge amounts of haul because I didn't really want to buy much. The one thing I wanted she didn't have. There we go. I bought myself a piece of 32 count antique white. I've got loads of white, and I just thought I'll have a knack because I prefer antique white to white. I also bought Eric and Michael's mini sampler book. That's the back view. There's no finishing instructions. You're supposed to buy a finishing kit from Lady Dot Creates. Well, that's probably going to be murder to try and get in this country, so I don't think I'll be bothering. I'll figure it out as I go along. I've got myself Hands-on Designs Stitch Some Happy. Oh, okay. Sorry, I've just noticed on the back that if I watch Floss Tube 59 from Hands-on Designs, it tells you how to finish it into the pincushion. So hopefully I'll get to that reasonably soon because it's only a little stitch. I also bought Silver Creek Samplers Introverted. In case you can't read it, it says introverted, but with will eagerly discuss everything cross stitch. And I've seen a few floss tubers wearing that on a t-shirt, but apparently, as ever, we can't get it in the UK, which is a shame because I'd love to wear that. And then I bought that. I bought it mostly for this one here. No, not that one, that one. Stitching makes my happy, but I will make it say me. And the nice thing was, when I went to pay, I found out that was a whole £1. I didn't know it was £1. And the same with this one. This one was £1, which I didn't know. I just picked it up and I thought, that is so nice. That is just, I just fell in love with it. And it only uses DMCs. And I just loved it. And again, like I say, it was £1. I was so surprised. She went, it's £1. Oh, okay, thank you very much. And that's it. I told you there wasn't a lot of haul. It's going to be a short video this time, but can't be helped. So, like I said, I was asked on my last video how I got into model stitching. Well, it started, I'd not been stitching long, probably 6 months, 12 months, something like that. And we had a shop in town that did DMC threads and kits. So I was a new stitcher, didn't know any different. I went in every week and bought a couple of DMC for a free chart I'd picked up in there, which is actually framed and upstairs on the wall. It was the first thing I ever did that wasn't a kit. And I look at it now and think, yeah, I could have washed that better because I can see who marks in it, but never mind, it's beside the point. So I went in one day and bought a kit. Oh, I can't remember which one of these it is. I've got a feeling it might have been this one. The box full of butterflies. Now, I will have bought the kit for my mum, and I stitched it for my mum. Now hangs on my stairs because most of you won't know that I lost my mum in January of this year. So all the things that I've stitched for her over the years, and a few bits that I did for my dad as well, have all come back to me. So they're now dotted around my house. So this is one of my very, very first things that I ever did for my mum. Like I say, this may well have been the first one that I did. So anyway, I would go in and I would buy a kit and I'd stitch it, and then I'd take it back to be framed. And I'd done this a couple of times. Was it once? Might have been once, might have been twice, I can't remember. It's 30 years ago. I've slept since then. And they said to me, we've got a proposition for her. And I'm like, oh yeah, okay. And what they said was, we would like to pay you back for this kit, and we will frame it. We will display it for 6 months in the shop, she said, and then it's yours. And I'm like, yeah. So went home, had a chat with my husband, and he's going, yeah, well, why not? Keeps you stitching. We didn't have a lot of money at the time because, you know, raising two girls and money was tight. So I'm like, oh, okay, it'll keep me stitching. And that's how come I ended up going in there every week, because this is when I found that free chart. So I did 4 projects altogether, including the one that I think the butterfly one was, like I say, was the one I bought and took in to be framed. And then another one I did for them, which at the time was very appropriate. These days I wouldn't stitch this, was this teddy bear. And he also hangs on my stairs. No. And then another one, which I love rocking horses. I've always liked rocking horses. We used to have a department store in Northwich, and they used to have a rocking horse, a grey rocking horse, and you could go on it. So whenever I was going into town with my mum when I was little, it was a treat to be allowed to go on this rocking horse. And it was the old-fashioned kind with the running, like the slats on it at the bottom. Very, very similar to this one, to be fair, only they were more straight than curved. So anyway, so this is another one that I did, that they gave me the kit. It might have been this one that I did that they paid me for. I can't remember. Like I say, it was over 30 years ago, and I've slept since then. But these have been with me in every house move. These have come with me. So that's my rocking horse. And then they gave me this one to do. Now, at the time, I'd never stitched on anything other than Ada. So, and she said to me, it's an even weave, or it's a linen. It's a linen, I think. No, it's not. It's an even weave. It's an even weave. I'd never stitched on anything else. So I'm like, oh, okay, I've never stitched on anything, but I'll give it a go, see what happens, how we get on. So this was my first ever project on even weave, and it wasn't till a few years after I'd done this I discovered that even weave's supposed to be quite difficult to stitch on when you've never done it. And I'm sitting there thinking, I don't find it that hard. Just remember to leave one hole in each side. That was the way I looked at it. I was using 9 holes, not 4. So you just had to remember to leave a gap in each side, and in the centre you didn't use those holes. And that's the way I dealt with it. That's the way I learned. So was this. It's lovely poppy. I think they're supposed to be Victorian, sitting in a poppy field. And I remember I really, really enjoyed doing this. Thoroughly enjoyed stitching this one. So after I'd done the few, they shut down, which was a shame because, you know, if they'd still been going now, I'd probably still been doing stuff for them. But I'm sitting there one day and I'm working away and I'm thinking, well, do you know what? If they'll pay me for framing, maybe some other places will pay me money, pay me cash. And I'm thinking, you know, I've got kids. Kids grow, they need shoes, they need clothes, you've got to feed them, you've got to pay all your bills, you know, just life. Excuse me. So we didn't have the internet back then, because you're talking the early 90s. The internet was another 10 years or so away. So I got out one of the cross-stitch magazines and I wrote letters to several places. Some came back with, no, we're okay, thank you. Some sent me a sample to do. That was DMC. I stitched for DMC for a few years. Hence the reason I've got such a large stash of DMC threads, because they would send you a full skein. And you just had to record how much you used, and you didn't send back the excess. So when I got a new project, I would sit and I would look through it and see what colours I already had. And if I wasn't going to use very much of that colour, then I would put the skein away and use what I had and record what I'd used, because that's what you did. You cut a metre length and you recorded it. So if you used 2 meters, you wrote down you'd use 2 meters. Even if you only used 1 strand for backstitch, you still wrote down a meter. So I was like, well, I can write down a meter, but I'm only using that 1 strand and I've already got that colour. So like I say, I would hang on to these DMCs. So stitching for DMC for a while actually built up my stash of DMC threads, which is why now it's very unusual for me to not have a colour. So anyway, I did that. I did quite a few companies. Most of them were no longer in existence for one reason or another. But I spent one summer working on the models for this. Most of my summer. I think it was 97. Might have been 98, something like that. So I got a signed book plate. I actually have 2 copies of this. This is the copy I gave to my parents. So I have a signed book plate in it. She's actually signed my copy, but my mum wanted me to sign hers. So I am actually I don't know if you can see that in the acknowledgements there, for helping with the models for this, did it say models? For the stitching. There. That's me. So I have my name in print. I can't remember what ones I did, but I remember it would be a case of I would send one back and within a couple of days another one would be in the post. I'm just having a flick through, see if I can find some of the ones I did, see if I can remember one. Didn't do that one. I remember doing most of those. Some of these I actually still have somewhere floating around. I didn't do that. Or did I? Oh, actually I did that one. I remember doing this. Yeah, I still have the original charts that I was sent that are literally bits and pieces put together. I didn't do that one. I remember that one. That border took ages. Brenda used to use this border quite a bit actually. But as I say, it would literally be, one would arrive and I'd do it. These ones, see these ones, these were only small. So one would be done. I'd get say it arrived on a Monday morning and it would be back in the post within sort of a week to 10 days because they were only small. And I was fitting it in around work and kids but again, I would send one and another one would then be on its way. I think I did that one, but I could be wrong. And I did some of the other stuff for her as well that wasn't just for this book. And I actually met her once, might have been twice to be fair. On the Wirral there used to be, well actually I think it's still there, Vorry embroidery. But it's not so much embroidery these days, it's more yarn and patchwork now, but Vorry embroidery, and Brenda was there this one day, way before I did the models for this, and I got my husband to take me out there because at the time I didn't drive, so I couldn't go. There's another one that I did, that little one there. And I can't remember, I might have done that. I can't remember. Like I say, a long time ago. So I actually, yes I say, I actually went and met her. Now this one I do remember doing, if I can find a picture of it. This was the first one I did for it, the multiplication sampler. That one there. I thoroughly enjoyed that. I do remember that, even like getting on 30 years later. What, 25, 26, 27 years, something like that. That was one of the first ones I ever did for her, and I loved it, absolutely loved it. I'd say it's such a long time ago that I really can't remember which ones I did. Some of them look familiar, but it might just be because I've looked at the book so many times. I think that might have been one as well. And I remember stitching her logo for her. I don't think I did that. Of course, this is way before, like I say, before internet banking and all of that kind of thing. So it was literally a case of ring her up, tell her it's on the way back. She would then start getting the next one ready, and when it arrived in the post, the check was there to pay for the last one, and that's how it did. And that's, as I say, I spent pretty much one summer, I think it was 97. When was the book published? Let me have a look when the book was published. Let me see, when was it published? It was published in 1998, so it would have been the summer of 97, summer, early autumn of 97, and that's basically what I did. Nowadays, I stopped for quite a while doing model stitching, for various reasons. I left my husband, all sorts of stuff. I stopped doing it, and then about 5-6 years ago, something like that, I was on Facebook. I I can't remember what group I was on, or it was just a general post, I don't know. And Alessandra Adelaide Needleworks posted and said she was looking for model stitchers. And I thought, oh, okay. So she said, you know, let me know, please apply. So I did. And I did several projects for her. We got paid in credit, but sometimes your project would arrive and there would be a little extra bit. So I've got some of her ceramic thread winders and a couple of her needle minders. Again, going back before needle minders were a big thing, but yeah. And my friend Kate Sparklers, as you know, I've done quite a few models for her over the years. The best one being, let me just show you, let me take this off. She has a needle minder. Now obviously it's a tiny picture of her dragon. I always say it's my dragon because I stitched him. At the time, that must be, oh, no, I did him before I did before I got into Alexandra Adelaide. I was living in this house at the time when I started stitching for her, and I was living in my old house, and I've been in this house for 13 years, I think. 13 years. Yeah, 13 years. In December, beginning of December, 13 years I've lived in this house. And I did this when I lived at my old house. And at the time I was off my feet. I can't remember why. I'd hurt my ankle or my leg or something. So I stitched him in about 6 weeks. But you're talking sort of 8-9 hours a day because I couldn't do anything else. My youngest daughter was still at home, so she was helping me do what I couldn't manage to do. And I've stitched models for Kate for quite a while. Bits and pieces, different things. As I say, that's the current one. I did the dragon for it. If you ever go to any of the shows, you'll see my dragon. It always takes centre stage. But I did a Little House Needleworks one for us. I think it was Snowflakes. There's a couple of Halloweeny ones. She knows I don't do Halloween. But the person that was going to do it let her down, so she sent it to me to do. She's got a Howling Wolf that came out last year. I did that one for her. And then I started with Doodlecraft Designs up in Fife last November. And that came about because Kate got talking to them. And they happened to say about model stitching. And Kate was like, well, I've got a friend that does a lot of models for me. And because Debbie from Doodlecraft had said that they'd had model stitchers let them down in the past. You know, they've sent the kits out and never got anything back. And Kate was like, well, I'll tell her to get in touch with you because, you know, she's reliable, she's good, she'll get it done for you. So I emailed her, and that's how it started with Doodlecraft Designs. So I've done, the first thing I did was a backgammon board. Debbie she will design something and she will start stitching it, and she'll do so much of it to give people an idea, and then she has to move on to something else. So she's got lots of things partly done, pardon me, because she just doesn't have the time to finish them. So the first thing I did was a dragon backgammon. So it's got dragons on it and there's swords, and that was the first thing I did. And then when I sent that back, she said, what would you like next? And I'm going, I don't mind, but not a backgammon board, because I've just done one of them. Don't mind another one in the future, but not right away. So she sent me an Egyptian chessboard. It's massive. It's 396 stitches squared. It's not complete full coverage, but it's got faces on it. Don't like faces. So I did that. She sent me that in March of 22. She didn't get it back until the middle of this year because I kept her fully informed, but 12 months ago yesterday, my mum went into hospital and she never came home. Sorry. And through all of that, having to go visit my mum every day in hospital took 4 hours out of my day every single day. So by the time I'd seen my partner off to work and done my housework and all of that kind of thing, I had very, very little time for stitching for 6 months. And Debbie was like, "Oh, you're all right, don't worry about it, just send me a picture every once in a while." Sorry. That's why I'm glad the stitching day was yesterday. It kept me occupied. So anyway, Debbie was brilliant. She only got back about May, I think she got it back. But she was fantastic. She was so supportive through everything. And then, obviously, as I said earlier, my mum passed in January. And then I had the house to empty. And again, I was spending 12 hours a day emptying a 3-bedroomed house that had 40 years of my parents' life in it. And, of course, some of mine. So I was spending 12 hours a day doing this. And again, Debbie was like, "No, you're fine. You need to do this. You do what you do. Don't worry about it." So I can never thank her enough for her support. But anyway, so now I mostly stitch for Kate and for Doodlecraft. So anybody out there that is thinking of how do I get into model stitching, contact companies and ask them. Some will say, "No, we're all right." Some will go, "Can you send us a sample of your work?" In which case I would send them something small, you know, stitch a Christmas card or something like that. That enough to show them that your work is neat, consistent, because they look for the backs as well, because obviously they don't want lumpy backs. I know that sounds silly, lumpy backs, you know, so they're going to look for knots and that kind of thing. They're going to look to see how well your stitches lie, all that kind of thing. So I would say do something small, something that you're not going to be upset about if you don't get it back, because some won't send it back. Most will, but some won't. For a while, I stitched for one of the magazines and I had to send them off. They just wanted photos because this is only a few years ago, so I just sent them really good, high quality photos. I didn't do many projects for them because trying to get paid was a pain in the arse. They didn't like to part with their money. Not for me, anyway. I can't speak for people that stitch for them constantly, but for me, it was like pulling teeth trying to get them paid. So I'm like, "Oh, I'm not doing this. I have got better things to do than have to chase you for 3 weeks for something that you should have paid me for pretty quickly." So there we go. That's how I got into model stitching. As I say, these days I only tend to stitch for Kate and for Doodlecraft. The commission, this one, came about through Doodlecraft. That one. She does photo conversions, and this gentleman had obviously done a search for photo conversions and found her. Had a look at her website and the things that she's got. She's got a gallery of previous commissions, you know, where she's converted the chart, someone stitched and sent her a picture. Pardon me. So he got in touch with her, and he then asked if she could stitch it as well, and she's like, I'm sorry, I just do not have the time to do that. But I can put you in touch with somebody. So I was CC'd in on the emails, and the result is I'm stitching a photo of his wife. It will get to a point where I won't share pictures of it, because there's something across the bottom of it that's very special to him. So I might just stitch the bottom and the background of the bit, and then not show you another picture with the bit that's written on it, because that's very personal to him. And it will reach a point as well in it that I won't share pictures unless he gives me permission to, because it's of his wife, who is very sadly no longer here. I don't know the circumstances, but I know she's no longer here, which is why he wants this picture doing. So there we go. Not a lot else I can say today, really. Hopefully this will upload okay on my phone, and I will see if I can figure out what else I can delete off my iPad to record on there, because it seems to be much better. But anyway, oh, before I go, I nearly forgot. Oh dear, naughty girl. Slap hand. Stitchy Sally gave me a shout out, and I was so chuffed. She said in her video, she said, I'm sat here, she said, and I'm watching, and I'm thinking, I know you. Where do I know you from? I'm sure I know you. Yes. I have known Sally online for perhaps getting on 15 years. I've never met her in person. I'd love to meet her in person one day, but whether that'll ever actually happen, I don't know. So yes, a big thank you to Sally for giving me a shout out. It got me a few more subscribers. Last time I looked, I'm up to 172. Woohoo! Which I think for somebody that's like, this is number 4, I think that's really good going. I'm quite chuffed with that. I know I had a few already, because if you've looked back at previous videos, there's one of a bead project that I did, and it must be about 7, 8 years ago now that I did that. And that got me something like 16 subscribers. So, but even so, you know, I'm really happy. It would be nice if you are a new viewer, if you like this video and subscribe, that would be lovely. I know it's going to take a long time to build up viewers, but you know, if I can get to say 300 by Christmas, I'll be happy. I can dream. A girl can dream. There's nothing wrong with having a dream. 500 would be even better, but you know, I'll keep an eye out for the flying pigs. They do fly over here occasionally, though. Although that's wrong. I shouldn't say that. That's not nice. I know a lot of people refer to the police as pigs, but they aren't. They aren't. In fact, one of them, if you've ever watched Motorway Cops Catching Britain's Speeders, that's based in Cheshire, one of the police officers there in that actually knew my mum. His wife is a gardener, and she used to go and do my mum's garden. And when he was off and there was a big job that needed doing, like hedges needed trimming and that kind of thing, or trees needed cutting down, he would go and help. So there's one of those police, I know which one it is, but I'm not going to say. One of them actually knew my mum, and he signed the condolence card off them all when mum went. But anyway, I'm waffling now. All because I remembered about Sally. Oh, there we go. And I know it's at least 13 years, sorry. Going back to that, I've been in this house 13 years in December. And I reckon it's about 15 years I've known Sally, because she sent me something just as not long after I'd moved to this house, and I had to go up there and pick it up because she'd not put either I'd not told her or she'd not remembered that I'd moved. I can't, again, I've slept since then, I can't remember. So I know it's at least 13 years that I've known Sally, but possibly a bit longer. But anyway, right, I'm done. I need to stop waffling. I need to get this uploaded and see how bad it is on my phone. It might be better on my phone, I don't know. We'll wait and see. So please, like I say, please like and subscribe if you're new here. Take care of yourselves. Happy stitching, and I'll see you soon. Bye.